Hey everybody, Selena Marie here, and this video is in my pregnancy vlogs. It is 4 years overdue, legit. Like, I was vlogging a whole bunch of stuff from my pregnancy because I was a high-risk pregnancy. I was a type 1 diabetic. I still am. That's never going to go away for me. For a lot of women it will. Gestational diabetes is a thing, but for me, it's just an always gonna be thing. So, and that was a new issue that was in my life right before I had gotten pregnant. I had only been diabetic for, I don't know, like maybe like 2 years or so. So there was a lot of heavy issues that and complications and stuff that can come with being pregnant, and there is a lot of negative stigma, I think, about it, and not a whole lot of positivity around having type 1 diabetes and being pregnant and having a healthy normal pregnancy and having healthy normal children. So it was important for me to vlog a little bit about my journey with it because there is a positive side. My experience was the positive side. My daughter is healthy and she's fine, and there were literally like no complications. So I really want people to know that you shouldn't be afraid, what you need to do to take care of yourself to ensure that you also have a healthy pregnancy. So I did a bunch of vlogging, and I pretty much kind of did it up until I delivered, and then I just kind of stopped because, you know, it was life was crazy and fast, and then I had the baby, and then I just didn't have any time. I didn't have any time to do any updates or anything like that. I barely just had time to function and 2 hours to sleep every day. So I was a zombie for the first 4 months. But we'll get into that. So anyways, I'll just kind of pick up where we left off. I didn't watch my last vlog, but I will tell you where I think I kind of stopped. So I delivered her, I want to say they let you go to about like 38 weeks or so, like maybe like a week or two. They want to deliver your baby early. They will induce your labor because in diabetics your placenta will start to deteriorate closer to that 40 weeks, so they want to get the baby out as safely as possible before. So I think it was maybe a week early. I really wanted to push it to 40 weeks, and I felt like I could because I was so scared about having an induced labor. I, of course, first time mom, so I'm Googling everything, I'm reading everybody's like horrible experiences and psyching myself out. So I just really didn't want to go that route. I wanted to try to have her naturally and break my water and this and that. But I did end up having to go to the hospital. I was, it's so funny because it was actually on my wedding anniversary. So Sophia was born 2 days after. So my wedding anniversary and her birthday are 2 days apart. So it was our wedding anniversary. We went in for an appointment. My appointments were twice a week at that point, and I had high blood pressure. So I had made a vlog about like preeclampsia, and that was a very, stressful thing. There were a lot of stressful things in my pregnancy, but they weren't bad things. I didn't have a lot of uncomfortable moments, but it was a lot of things that were stressful. And so I went in, I had high blood pressure when they checked me, so I went into the room. She had me lay down on my left side for a while, and then they checked me again. It was still really high. I don't know, it was like 150, I think. And so she was like, I'm going to send you to the hospital right now. You're going to go in. And I had maybe it was on a Sunday, I remember. And I wasn't planning on going to the hospital until maybe 4 days or so later. Was my actual day that I was scheduled to go in. So she was like, you have to go right now. I'm going to call it in. They're going to get a bed ready for you. And I was just like, no, I'm not ready. I had 4 days to plan. I was not ready. So me and my husband, my makeup was all done. I was ready to go out because we were going to go to dinner and have a, anniversary. But we ended up driving to Subway and getting Subway sandwiches. And I ate them at my kitchen table while I sobbed and cried because I was so scared. I was not ready. My husband took a shower, he got our stuff ready, we went to the hospital maybe 2 hours later. And so I got there, I got into the hospital gown, and I had a really awesome support team with me, and it's super important. Like, if you can have people around you that are going to make you feel comfortable, have those people around you. So I was able to have maybe like 4 people in my room at all times, and of course when you deliver them, they're going to kick everybody out. But for that most part, I had really supportive people with me that kept me really calm. And so they hooked me up, and I had like 4 IVs in me because I needed one IV for like the regular stuff. I needed the other IV as my insulin drip because when you're diabetic, you can't have your pump on you. Like, you can continue to have your pump on you as long as you're able to manage it. Obviously, you're going to get to a point where you're so tired or your contractions are so intense that like you're not going to be able to monitor that yourself. So I think I decided to take it off, and so then they hooked me up to an insulin drip. I think actually I probably didn't have an insulin drip just yet. I'll get to that. So I had my IV, I had some other stuff, and then they gave me medication for the high blood pressure. And I'm in bed, and I posted some of this on my Instagram a very, very obviously a long time ago. But I had written some notes and stuff about like what the progression was. So I'm going to kind of reference that so I can refresh my memory. But I was leery about how they were going to induce me. I did not want Pitocin. Pitocin is like just, I don't know, that was just going to make my life so much harder. And I'm glad that they didn't do that. So we did a Cervidil, so it's kind of like a little dissolvable pill kind of, and they just kind of will insert it, and it's supposed to soften your cervix. So we did 2 rounds of Cervidil. They take 12 hours in between doses, so you can see whether it's like working or if you need another one. I ended up having to do 2 before things started to roll. So it causes, like I was writing about, like I was getting cramping. It wasn't exactly contractions yet, but your body starts to cramp. I was on magnesium, and that was to control my blood pressure. That was really interesting. That magnesium, I had that at night, and I just remember like a burning sensation all up my arm. It was a little uncomfortable, and I was just like, what the fuck, dude, I'm like burning. And then I had gotten a really, really stuffy nose. These are just like weird side effects of that, I guess. But I was like, I could not breathe, which is why I was writing this at like 4 in the morning. I was like writing things in my notes, just documenting things so I can post it on my Instagram. So I had a really, really bad stuffy nose. And so pretty much after that was the next morning, they checked my cervix. Things weren't progressing, so they gave me another round of Cervidil. And then the cramping started to get stronger and stronger. I got my epidural at 1 centimeter, which is pretty like soon, but I'm glad that I did, because after I got my epidural, things progressed really, really fast. I want to say that this is something that I did not expect. When you are diabetic, and we're talking about like the insulin drip, I don't know, I was leery about having other people control my blood sugars, because what if I'm low and what if I'm high? They were coming in and checking me all the time, which made me feel more comfortable, and then they would monitor it and they would adjust the drip. But when you're on an insulin drip, you cannot get up. You are in that bed, you're bedridden. So I had a catheter, and having a catheter inserted with no, like nothing to numb you is some kind of awful, horrible, just, it's bad. So I had to do that. I had a catheter put in, which you're going to have it anyways if you're going to get an epidural, but it just sucks, dude, because I didn't have the epidural at that time. I was fully aware and feeling everything, and that was not cool. So at that point, I couldn't get up anymore. And what I was noticing is that when I was contracting and cramping, like, it felt better for me to get up and walk around. Like, every time I got up to go pee, just being able to like squat my body down made me feel better, like maybe opening up my pelvis. I don't know. Like, I understand why women are rolling around on those big bouncy balls, because it just opens up your body and kind of stretches you out in certain ways that feels a bit more comfortable. But I couldn't do that anymore. So I was in the bed feeling all my contractions and stuff. And it was only 1 centimeter dilated. So they broke my water. They let me get my epidural. And then from there, everything just progressed really, really fast. I remember that I got the epidural. I was feeling better. I had a really good experience with that. Like, I was scared getting it. My body was also reacting to, I don't know what it was reacting to, but my legs were just trembling. Like, my body was trembling, which was at the worst possible time because I'm getting a giant needle in my back. But I held it together and I got that. So everything progressed really fast. I fell asleep, and then when I woke up, we were ready to push. So this was in the afternoon, I want to say. So this was about 2 days later. Sophia was born, like I said, 2 days after our anniversary. And so when I was ready to push, I still couldn't feel anything, which was great. I felt pressure, but I didn't feel pain. And so we practiced pushing for, I don't know, like 30 minutes or so. And then when it got time to it, like, things just flip so fast. If you've never had a kid or know anybody that has a kid or been in the room and your sister's having a kid, everything just goes super duper fast. Like, once that baby's ready to come out and they're ready to push, like, about 30 people enter your room. Lights are coming down from the ceiling. Like, things that you didn't think were, usable objects in the room transform into something, and there's just, it's craziness. They kick everybody out. It's just you, the doctor, and like one other person, or maybe another quiet person if they're off in the corner. And I remember pushing and pushing, and it really wasn't more than like 10 minutes, I think. It was very, very quickly. Sophia was in a little bit of danger, I guess. Her heart rate was slowing down when I was contracting. So the doctor who delivered my baby was not my regular doctor. That doctor was with me for like a day, and then she wasn't the on-call doctor anymore. So this other doctor came in, and she was amazing. I love her. She's my doctor now. So she made the executive decision to push against me while I was pushing to get Sophia out like super quickly. I really was stressing to them, like, I did not want a C-section. Almost, a ton of people have experiences when you're diabetic that you don't, like, your labor just doesn't progress for whatever reason. Like, you'll, have so many centimeters dilated, but then after that it just kind of stops. And so a lot of people go into emergency C-sections. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be as normal as possible. I didn't want the complications of that. So she really helped me out, and Sophia popped out super quickly. She was so much smaller than what we were thinking. So like I said, I had just had an appointment on Sunday, and when I was in there for my checkup, and I got ultrasounds twice a week, and they said she was about 7 pounds, something. She ended up being 5 pounds, I'll tell you right now. So she ended up being born at 4/27, 5 days before her due date. She was 5 pounds, 15 ounces, estimated at 7 pounds, 12 ounces. Way off. She was 19 inches long. She had a full head of black hair, and she was perfectly healthy. She had no low blood sugars. Her temperature was regulated. She was awesome. And you can have a healthy, normal baby and a healthy, normal pregnancy, but you have got to like kick your ass and really stay on top of everything. Like, it is what it is. If you want to be a healthy diabetic, like, you need to really, really have yourself under control. And I don't have the best control, but I definitely don't have the worst control. In my small community, you know, we all basically kind of go to the same doctor's office for diabetics, and I am one of the top patients because I really have my shit together as much as possible. And I thank it all to my pump and having an endocrinologist, which I never had before. I never knew I needed one until one of my, I think it was my OBGYN asked me if I had one, recommended that I get one. So I found one, and then she gave me the pump, and it really, really, really helps me out. So regulating your blood sugars while you're pregnant is a bitch. It sucks. It's horrible. You're different every single day. Postpartum, I don't really feel like I had a whole lot of issues. I know, you know, people say that, you know, while you're breastfeeding, your blood sugars will drop, you know, because you're using all this energy and all this da-da-da. But I never had any issue with that. I don't even really feel like I hadn't, you know, lost any weight from breastfeeding. I didn't. My body just kind of regulated after like 8 months. I didn't exercise or anything. I was just, to be honest, like I was just dead ass tired. But I breastfed Sophia for about a year and 3 months, and I would have went longer if I didn't go back on my diabetic medication, which now I'm not even on that anymore. I was just taking like a low dose aspirin, and I was taking lisinopril, I think, which was to protect like my liver or my kidneys. And I'm not taking those anymore. They're kind of pointless. I didn't need them. So I could have been breastfeeding her still up until, I don't know, 2 years was my goal. But after about like a year and 3 months, which is when I weaned her off, that's when she was just kind of like comfort feeding, and she was obviously like eating solid foods and stuff. It wasn't totally necessary, but I'm a firm believer in breastfeeding. Like, the nutrients, their immune system's awesome. Sophia's really great. She doesn't get sick often. She is really, really cool. So she's about to be 4 years old, in just a few months, and she's awesome. She hasn't had any major health issues, and of course, you know, I worry about her, I don't know, being diabetic later. I don't know too much about like type 1 diabetes. Like, I know that it's not, like, I think your children have like a 50% chance of being diabetic or not. And again, I'm not totally sure about that, but it's just not even a thought in my mind right now. And if that happens, like, we'll deal with it when it comes to that. I feel so bad for children that have to go through that at a young age because it's a lot of management. But I mean, I'm really good at managing myself, so it would be a challenge, but it wouldn't be devastating, you know, because I am healthy and I'm living my best life right now, and it's only going to get better because I'm just continuing to change my diet and the food that enters my body and my family's body. And, you know, I don't think I'll ever stop being insulin dependent because, you know, foods are foods and they're going to contain carbs and all that stuff. But for the most part, everything's good. My A1Cs are, when I was pregnant, I was about like 5 something. Right now, I'm like a 6.1. So it's still not bad. I'm still doing a pretty good job. I have my highs and my lows. My highs, my average is like, I'll get to about like 250. Occasionally I'll have like a 320 something number. But if I have a high, it's about 250. I correct it really quickly and bring it down. So it freaks me out every once in a while, but obviously it's not doing enough damage to like raise my A1C level. So everything is still moderately controlled. I just got a new pump, which I'm waiting for it to come in. It's probably not going to come in until about the end of the year. I actually have the pump, but I'm waiting for the continuous glucose monitor that will go on my arm, and that will, I don't know if I'm going to wear it all the time. I kind of just want to try it out. I wanted to try it out, and it was a good thing that I got this pump because the pump comes with the monitor, and they just come in as a package deal. So even if I didn't want the monitor, it would have come inside, you know, like the package with my pump anyways. So I want to try it out because I don't like those highs. I don't like those 250s and those 300 occasional numbers. So I want to try to catch it as quickly as possible, and that monitor will check my blood sugar like every 20 seconds or something like that, and let me know when I'm getting near a high or a low. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. After that, everything just kind of regulated in my body. My blood sugars and everything went right back to normal almost instantly, I feel like, where I was taking maybe before I was pregnant, which is like now, you know, back to normal, I'll have 1 unit of insulin for every maybe like 15 carbs, and then back then when I was pregnant, I was taking 1 unit of insulin for every like 5 carbs. It was ridiculous. I was taking like 13, 14 units of insulin in the morning just for regular breakfast items, like a piece of toast. And my sugars were out of control, and I would have to take like 14 units to control it. Like, that was so nuts. Just to think about how crazy your body can react and become insulin resistant. But now everything's cool. Everything's Gucci. Sophia's happy and healthy, and we're happy and healthy. So I hope this helps anybody out. I just keep getting questions and stuff on those pregnancy videos, and I responded to people, and you can always email me at my email address, and I'll link it down below. If you have any questions, like, yeah, please feel free to hit me up, and I'll give you as much knowledge as I have, and, you know, just hopefully it'll ease your mind. You know, if you're type 1 diabetic, you can absolutely have your baby, have a healthy pregnancy, and be happy afterwards. Like, you don't need to fear the unknown, and as long as you're taking care of yourself and your blood sugars are as normal as they can be, you're just as normal as the girl next door, you know? So yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions, and thanks for watching. Bye. Go for it.
Hi guys, we have a big McDuffins one. And we have something in it. I'm gonna show you. It's a phone with all of the stuff McDuffins things. And it goes like this. And you turn it like this. Turn it again. And you turn it again. And you press this. Huh? Why does it do that? Now, this is for the Band-Aid. This is for a stethoscope to look in your eyes and ears, and then this nose and to see your burgers. It says this goes on, this goes right here, but then it says right here. We get this stomach stuffing. Bella, favorite doggy.